can hit record. All right. So good morning again. As I said, welcome to day 3 of transition portfolio training. Demonstration of Google Sites is going to be what we're going to talk about today. I'm Brady Powers with the Center on Community Living and Careers. I am going to be presenting with you with, again, my amazing coworker, Sandy Block. She's with us. And then we've also got Kathleen Hardy-Hansen, Mike Nevins, Mary Pearson, who are also part of the team, Instruct team at CCLC. And I also wanted to introduce once again, Michelle Oja and Ian Reagan from Indiana Department of Education. They are joining us again this morning. So thanks for being here. These trainings are brought to you in partnership with Instruct CCLC team, as well as the IDOE Office of Special Education. We are going to get started here, but I wanted to just let you know that we've got our Padlet that you might want to pull up, that the Padlet and the resources there are located so that you can have those, and are, again, part of the partnership with IDOE and Instruct. Those have all the resources, and Sandy's showing them for us. You can see the Padlet and the different columns. As you scroll from left to right, there are multiple columns that you'll be able to utilize. As we are beginning today, before we move to demonstrating the use of our Google Sites, we'd like to suggest that you either download or print the how-to guide as we're talking. You should find the Padlet link in the chat that you could pull that up. The how-to guide is on the Padlet in the 3rd column in the how-to documents section. And this is where you will be able to follow step-by-step, which give you directions of how to copy, but also how to get the templates that we're going to talk about today. All right. I think we're good, Sandy. We'll just go ahead and get started. Give you guys just a few minutes, I know, to pull up that Padlet now that we've asked that, made that request. Don't panic, everything will be fine. We're going to recap from yesterday, so you'll have some time to pull that up. So speaking of our recap from yesterday, we talked about during session 2, artifacts defined. And really, if you missed yesterday, no problem. You'll have access to the recordings and the PowerPoints on the Padlet. But just a reminder, artifacts really equals products. They are things that are being produced that you are able to share in ways, resources and data that you are sharing that you've learned about your student. Transition assessments as artifacts we discussed yesterday, but we also talked transition services activities as artifacts yesterday. So this is something that you are not doing alone. As the TOR, you should have individuals that are able to assist you to produce these transition portfolios. Your pre-ETS team members, paraprofessionals that work with you, you name it, additional teachers that may be in the school building, community leaders, so parents, lots of outside sources that can help and can assist with things to produce some of these artifacts that we talked about yesterday, and that we're going to show as examples today. We also talked about the visual resume, and on that Padlet that Sandy was showing earlier, as you scooch over to the far right, there is a column that shows you examples of 2 visual resumes that we have created or that we're using and shared with you, and one that is an example of a video resume. So those alternatives that you may look into as using as an artifact, depending on your student and their needs, those are listed there as well. Finally, the last one, we had a guest speaker yesterday, a video that we showed. Yesterday's speaker was Nikki Ford, who's a teacher, and she shares how to use, how they use Google Sites in her school and her district. And she demonstrates some of the ways in working in Google Sites, so kind of some tips. And so if you missed that, again, you'll be able to find that video embedded in the PowerPoint from yesterday. So you can always pull that up and view that video if you missed it. Nikki is great, and we're super grateful that she helped us with that project. All right, next slide. Today, we are going to have another guest speaker. Today, we're going to hear from Jenny Austin, who is a VR counselor, and she shares some perspective of the transition portfolio as part of that transition as your student exits or graduates school, how some outside resources are able to pick that information up and utilize that information that you've created and shared to help that student transition into adulthood, and ultimately, in this particular case, into the workforce. We're going to talk about Google Sites template, how to demonstrate. Today's the day that you all have asked for, to demonstrate how to set up and actually make these documents or the portfolios in Google Sites. And we're also going to give you an example of Google Slides slash the PowerPoint format. So I'll show you an easy way to create that in PowerPoint. And if you'd like to use it in Slides and you have Google as well, you can always upload that into your Drive, and that will automatically creates that PowerPoint into a Google Slides presentation as well. So great news all around. And then the fourth is the updated Padlet document. So we know that there are questions that you are putting in chat. We try to get to those as we can. If there are items that we aren't able to answer or we don't address, or if we address everything, just so that there's posterity's sake, we will put those on the FAQ document in the Padlet so that you will have that. So keep an eye out for the Padlet. We will be updating it with the videos and recordings. The PowerPoint's already there for you, but also with the FAQ documents, okay, and those answers, so you can see what others may have asked and those answers that we're sharing. All right, Sandy. Sandy's driving for us again, so I have to give her kudos. She's an amazing driver. As we're toggling back and forth, today is going to be another day where we will be toggling like yesterday between the PowerPoint and actual other showings for you as we're pulling up Google Sites and walking you through those demonstrations. So we're going to get started with the video, and then everything after this will be part of those demonstrations. So hang in there. We are going to watch this video from Jenny, and we'll go from there.
Hello, I'm Jenny Austin, Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor for the state of Indiana. I've been a VR counselor for about 10 years now. Before that, I worked for Stonebelt, a local agency, for about 17 years as a job coach and a project search instructor. I'm also going into my 15th year as an adjunct faculty at Ivy Tech Community College. I've had the experience of working on portfolios kind of from both sides of the table. As a project search instructor, I helped my interns put those together so that they had something that really highlighted their internship experiences, any other work experiences, volunteer experiences, hobbies, preferences, their educational background, so that they had something that they could kind of take forward to show a boss if they were applying for a job. As a vocational rehabilitation counselor, I really appreciate when a student comes in who's already got something like a portfolio created, because that gives me a much more well-rounded view of the person than just what I pick up from the intake interview or from the documentation that I request for eligibility purposes. I can then share that information with the job coach or employment consultant so that they also get a better idea of who this person is before maybe they even meet him or her, and can start then knowing what they need to be able to develop that person's job search. So I'm going to focus primarily on those aspects of a portfolio that are going to be particularly applicable to employment or to post-secondary education. It probably goes without saying, but a portfolio needs to have basic information in it, contact info, members of the team, like family members or guardians, residential providers, teachers, other, therapists or other staff who work with the person. Student probably also wants to include information about themselves. So, those hobbies and interests, preferences, strengths and talents, their participation in things like pre-employment transition services, different clubs, volunteer activities, paid work experiences if they've had a job, athletics, scouts, any kind of extracurricular groups, and as well as any awards and honors that they may have earned either in school or outside of school. In addition to that kind of fun stuff, you also want to put in information about the support needs. How does that student communicate? Is it someone who's pretty verbal, who can speak for themselves? Is it somebody who uses American Sign Language and will need an interpreter? Do they have good receptive and expressive language skills, or is it somebody who's always going to be like, oh, yeah, 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 regardless of whether they understand what's being asked or whether they really agree with it because they just, they want to please. You want to make sure that there's information about any special needs that the person has. So things like behavior support plans, risk plans for, seizures, falling, choking, that sort of thing. Does the person need a personal assistant for meal times or for hygiene needs? Are there triggers for behaviors, maybe specific words that you really don't want to use, or environments that you need to avoid? You'll need to look at attendance. Are there going to be issues with transportation that are going to come up? Is there a parent who can provide transportation? Are there transportation services in town that you can arrange? If there's a bus system, is that something that the person could learn how to use if they had some training? Is it somebody who can drive or might be able to learn how to drive? And that's actually a service vocational rehab may be able to provide in some circumstances, is help with driver training. Knowing the learning style is very important. Someone who's got good reading comprehension, you may be able to just hand them a paper with written instructions, and that's all they need. They're good to go. Somebody else may really need a lot of demonstration. They may need more explanation. Maybe they even need hand over hand until they get the knack of how to do something. Think about note taking. For some people, we just sit down, we pick up a pen and a pad of paper, and we listen and write at the same time. But for a lot of people, that's really a struggle, and so they lose important information. But it can be easily, kind of accommodated by things like having a note taker in class, or having the instructor or supervisor provide notes that go over the most important things that the person needs to remember, or even requesting permission to record an information session or a lecture. Think about a student whose only work experience so far has been maybe work study, where they've been clearing tables in the cafeteria. Even if you do a skill-based resume rather than a traditional chronological resume, it's going to be pretty empty. There's only so many skills that you can kind of pull out of a simple duty like that. But if you include, say, pictures of the person doing the job, or better yet, a short video of them working that really shows off, maybe they've got really good social skills, they're super friendly, they've got a really good work ethic, and they just work, without having to be prompted. You might do interviews with faculty that are in the lunchroom, or the other cafeteria staff, or even other students who can talk about what a great job the person does and how valuable their work is, and maybe how much they enjoy having that person around. And again, don't forget those experiences outside of school as well. The clubs that they belong to, athletics they participate in, volunteer work that maybe they've done through various agencies, their faith communities if they belong, say, to a church or a synagogue, and think about even household chores. So maybe somebody has helped their mom with a Sunday school class, so they might take themselves, in that class, interacting with the students, maybe even then tape some interviews with the clergy or with the parents of the kids that they've been working with, talking about what a great job this kid does and how glad they are to have him. Even with chores, a person might film themselves or take pictures of themselves doing some of the chores that they do, and then talk about, I have to feed my pets. I love my pets. They need to be fed. I don't mind doing it. Or, gosh, cleaning. You do it, and then before you know it, you have to do it again. Just to kind of give that idea of who the person is and what they like or dislike. Students with more advanced academic skills can do things like include their transcripts, research papers that they've done, creative writing, articles for the school paper, even copies of college applications. and that sort of thing. Some students may even be inspired to create an education or employment focused blog or a personal website. And there's lots of different platforms out there that are free or don't cost very much money that they can use to do these. A lot of them are super user friendly too. Somebody who's interested in web designing might show up a page that they've helped develop. Somebody who wants to go into teaching might show off a lesson plan. Maybe even find a group who's willing to let them implement that lesson plan, and with permission tape themselves doing that. Of course, typically you're going to put transcripts in a portfolio as well. But of course, we all know that the grades are not everything. And being able to show off some of these other things as well really shows who that person is, much more than just a page of grades. We've all known those students who really struggle to make their grades, but end up doing really well. Students who are good with computers can actually help put together their portfolios, and that's putting together the portfolio itself, but also the different programs that you use to build that. So things like Word for document, Photoshop for photographs, Excel, maybe even composing their own soundtrack with something like GarageBand. You can include just about anything as long as it kind of helps build toward that employment or education goal. Portfolios can speak for those students who are nonverbal, who are anxious, or just so introverted they have a hard time speaking out. But even an articulate and outgoing student can use a portfolio to help illustrate, his or her talents and experiences and passion. Because, think about it, even the best resume or curriculum vitae tends to be very cut and dried. And if you've ever tried to, kind of jazz it up or, make it stand out, that's typically kind of, that's not really acceptable. But the portfolio can really go into that bigger picture of who the person is and can help the VR counselor, the job coach, even the employer get a sense of who that person is in ways that those traditional formats do not. Now, of course, if all you've got access to is being able to kind of put all this together into a binder full of pages, that's fine too. You work with what you've got. But if you can do something digital, that can be very, very dynamic and creative. As a vocational rehab counselor, I really do wish more of the young people coming into me had a portfolio that they could bring and give me that bigger sense of who they are. It gives me, the job coach, other audiences, including possibly the employer, a chance to really see the skills and the talents and strengths of these individuals, as well as what their supports are going to be. Regardless of whether those are, complex behavior or medical or training supports, when you see that in that bigger context of the person, sometimes while the supports are still important, they don't become so overwhelming. And especially these days, with the pandemic, where a lot of our meetings are virtual through, Zoom or on the phone, and we don't necessarily get together face to face, the portfolio can really kind of put that whole person forward.
All right, so thanks from Jenny. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sandy, and she is going to start the session of demonstrating Google Sites, the big thing you've all been waiting for.
All right, thanks, Brady. We are on slide 5. I noticed that slide 2 and 3 were misnumbered, so I apologize for that. Before we move into demonstrating Google Sites, Brady already suggested downloading or printing that how-to guide, and that might make today a bit easier for you because you can jot notes down. And as a reminder, as we go along, please put your questions in the chat box, and if we can get to them today, we will. If not, we will place them in the FAQ document on the Padlet. And keep in mind that you will build all 4 portfolio components into each portfolio for each student on a certificate of completion course of study. If you can be a Houdini and be very creative while you're doing it, of course, we always encourage that. All right, Google Sites demonstration. So we're going to review how to use and navigate Google Sites template to build a portfolio for a student. There are helpful documents in the Padlet, including the Google Sites How-To Guide and the Transition Portfolio Guidance document from the Department of Education. And then after today, again, we invite you to attend open office hours every Thursday from 2:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time if you need help with the portfolio. And we invite you also to attend Topical Tuesdays every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And I believe there are going to be links placed in chat for each of those. So the first thing to keep in mind is that you need a Google email account in order to use the template. You can assist the student to create their own account if they don't already have one. Keep in mind, though, that a student will need to access that portfolio after they leave high school. So at some point, if you're using a different Google account, the student's portfolio will need to transfer to the student. Same as if the student is using a school Google account. That account will at some point not be available to the student. So step one, work from an already existing Google account. There's going to be a link placed in chat in a few seconds that will provide directions in terms of how to set up a Google account if you don't already have one. And then next, you're going to use a link found at the bottom of page 6 on the Google Sites Transition Portfolio How-To Guide, bottom of page 6. You can also find that link at the top of page 8 in the 2022 Transition Portfolio Guide in the Padlet. They're both in column 3. I am going to virtually click that link right now. Let me switch over to Google. When you click that link, oh my goodness. One moment, please. Google is going to try to be gaping on me and not let me in. We'll see who gets the final laugh here. It might be Google. I don't know. Google tends to do what it wants to do sometimes. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's me. All right, here we go. Thanks, Google. When you click the link that I just referred to on either page 6 or page 8 of the 2 documents, you will be directed to a page that you see on the screen now. You see the screen, the Indiana Google Sites template. Now, once you have the template open, you want to find the 3 vertical dots at the top of the template page. I'm going to move my mouse right over to them now. See them up here? If you hover there and click the vertical dots, a drop-down menu is going to appear. I'm going to click it now. And you see a lot of different options. The one that you want to click and you must click it is Make a Copy. If you do not select Make a Copy before you begin working in this template, what happens are 2 things. First thing that happens is that everybody in the state is going to see the work that you're doing in the template because you haven't saved it as a copy. The second thing that's going to happen is that Michelle Oja and Ian Reagans will begin sprouting gray hair because they have to create a new template link from which you can make a copy for the entire state. So make a copy, make a copy, make a copy before you do anything else. Now, when you select make a copy, I'm going to click it. A new screen will appear. Simply type in the name of the portfolio you are creating. And after you do that, you're going to make sure that the entire site button is selected. This will make a copy and title the portfolio for each student. If you would like to, you can save your first copy as a practice copy. Just be sure to title it as such, like Practice for Me 2022. That will kind of get you into this Google site, and you can play around with the features a bit if you like. Again, be sure to make a copy. You know what happens when you don't make a copy. So you have the name of your new site. You have entire site clicked, and then you're going to say, okay. You see how it's copying the site now? And there we go. So let's see. Once you have titled the copy, you make sure entire site, and then you advance OK. The Google Sites template for Indiana is already pre-populated to give you the necessary structure that you need to fill out the component requirements for the portfolio. The component sections are already listed, and that kind of makes it really nice for you guys. There are 5 pages to the student portfolio, and you see them here. They are home, about me, learning characteristics, academic skills, and employability skills. I'm over here to the right. I have clicked pages, and the page sections for the portfolio automatically populate for you. Except for the home page, each of these portfolio components, if you click on the caret next to them, contain subpages. See, as I'm clicking, each of the subpages are populating. Y'all get that? Any questions? Please pop it into chat. So let's look at the home page. I'm going to click the home page right up here at the top. This page has pre-assembled text boxes, which a student may enter their name into, their address into, an email, as well as other information if you like. When you're on the home page, you are able to take out the state icon in the upper left-hand corner if you like. You can click on it. You can trash that icon if you like, or you can upload a different picture if you like. If you hover over the words template only on the top left, you can highlight and move over that title and rename it. You can, if you click over the this is a template section, you see how, let me click off of it. Let me click onto it. Now it becomes, you can see it as a text box. So you are able to highlight, you can change the boldness, you can make it italics, you can underline it. You can choose the text color and the text font. You can put anything you like in here. If you don't want this little text box, all you've got to do is go up to the handy dandy trash can. So you click on each page and subpage to begin entering information. And again, you will see pages and subpages in two different places. If you go over here all the way to the right and click on the carets, all of the pages are listed for you. Or you can go up here to the top corner of the portfolio copy, and you can use the carets there to click to the different pages and subpages. Clicking or using the links in both places will take you to the same place. And the other thing to remember is that when you're creating a Google Sites template, as you work in Google Sites, Google is saving the information for you. There is no save button that you have to remember to select, because saving is being done automatically. So that's pretty cool. When you're in Google Sites, on any of the pages or subpages, you're going to see what we call a banner. See this bluish background with greenish dots? That's what we call a banner. In each banner, you can change the type by hovering over the bottom left-hand corner and selecting header type. Here's the left-hand corner of the banner. I'm going to change the header type. So I'm just going to click onto that and watch the banner as I select different options. See how it changes. See how that changed a bit as you select the different options? So that's pretty cool. If you don't like the changes that you've made in the banner, you can hover over and click reset. Let me start from square one again. I don't like any of the changes I just made. I'm going to hover over reset and I'm going to reset that. If you want to change the background of the banner, hover and select the change image in the left-hand corner of each banner. And I'm showing you that right here. You can select change image and a drop-down list will appear. You can either upload an image or select an image, as you see your two choices here, upload, select. If you choose upload image, you can upload an image from your computer. Upload means from my computer. And that's the only thing it means, from my computer. If you choose select, you have the option to select preset choices or to do an image search. So let me click select and show you that there are preset background themes for each portfolio. You can choose one of those, or you can go up here to search. Let's put in purple. And look at all the different variations you might be able to get. You select one and insert, and the background of your banner will change. So every page and subpage, while pre-populated a bit, they can be changed to your preference. For example, looking at the home page, if you don't want to use this big text box right here, you can delete it. If you hover over the box, you'll see three options appear to the left. See them right here? Looks like a paint tray, a duplicate section, and a trash can. If you don't want this big box here, you just select the trash can. If you change something and then you don't like your change, Just use the undo button at the top of the page. Let's take a look at how Josie's homepage is set up. So I changed the banner to pink, put in some verbiage, put in her name, email, phone number, and a few other items, which I will also show you how to do. When you're done with the introduction or the home page, it's time to start working on the other 4 component pages. Now, those pages and subpages, again, they're minimally pre-populated. You can choose to simply follow the layout that the Department of Education has already constructed for you, that's pre-populated in the template, or you can choose to shake it up a bit and put your own personal spin on it. You are required to have only 1 artifact per component section. You heard me right, 1 artifact per component section. But a quality portfolio will have many documents added each year to show progress and growth. And artifacts can include, as we talked yesterday, those standardized assessments, authentic assessments, pictures, videos, descriptive documents. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Each artifact will illustrate, clarify, support, describe categories within each of the subpages. And again, you see that structure on the right over here. I personally think it's easier to navigate pages to the right of the portfolio than it is to navigate them from the portfolio itself. But that's just a personal preference for you and the student. Now, if you or a student is an overachiever and you want to add more pages, that's cool. You simply go down to the bottom of the pages on the right and you click this Add button. But be sure you're in the section where you want to add a page before pressing this button. If you make a mistake, you are able to drag and drop pages up and down to change their order. So you could select the plus. I'm going to go new page and name it whatever you want to name it, right? And then click done. Let's look at some of the options that are available in Google Sites. To the right of the portfolio pages, again, you're going to find your navigation options. And those options are, look up here all the way to the top underneath Publish. Those options are, excuse me, Insert, Pages, and Themes. You see them right here. Insert, Pages, and Themes. Don't let any of this scare you at all. And if it does and you're getting really anxious about it, come to Thursday open office hours and we can walk you through every single option. We will meet you where you're at and start from there and assist you with it. But let's look at the insert functions by clicking Insert. The Insert tab will have most of the features you're going to use to create an individualized student portfolio. Those features include options for adding text, adding images, adding documents. You might be adding web links. The Insert tab also features options for adding certain layouts, right? So in Insert, you can click text box. Watch what happens to the left on the template if I click text box. Look, it added a text box right here. I'm going to delete that puppy. If I select image, I can upload or select. Let me upload. I don't know what this is. Here we go. Simple as that, how you upload an image. And once you do that, it pops directly onto your page. I'm gonna get rid of that puppy by clicking the trash can. If you want to show a video that a student has watched, click embed. Look at that. You just pop in the URL code or the embed code and you click insert. And when you do, that link will appear. Let's put, well, I don't have one set, so I'm not going to do that. But that's how you would do it. If you have lots and lots of documents in your drive and you want to upload one to a particular portfolio page, here's how you do it. You select Drive, and then all of your documents that you've saved in Drive will appear. You select the one that you want by double clicking, and lo and behold, it shows up right here. I'm going to trash that puppy. Okay, so the insert tab, let me get back to it. Here we go. The insert tab, again, features a lot of the images and features that you're going to want to use just to make your portfolio visually appealing, make it organized, and have content that flows and makes sense together. So let's look at layouts for this page. Your layouts begin right below text box, images, embed, and drive. Then you have layouts. There are 6 pre-populated layouts in each portfolio. Once a layout is placed on a page, you just add the information or picture or video, but whatever you want, whatever the case may be. Other options available under the Insert tab are collapsible group, table of contents. Nikki Ford has used this before in a portfolio. Image carousel, a button, a divider, placeholder, YouTube calendar, map, docs, slides, sheets, forms, charts. Do you think we have enough in there? I think we do. At the top of the insert feature, again, whoops, get over there. You're going to find images, embed, drive, and text. And I've showed you the text box. I've showed you the images button. I've showed you the embed feature, and I've showed you how you can select a document from your drive. The drive button, again, that will allow you to add any document that you have saved into your Google Drive. Now, layouts, which we see again below the top section, is for use in a page or subpage of your choosing, any of the pages or subpages. And again, it's an organizational option. Each layout includes a graphic organization of an artifact and a combination of text. By selecting a layout type, that layout is automatically placed into the page or subpage. So we're on this home page. I'm going to select one of these layouts. Let's select this one. I'm just going to click on it and watch what happens to the left on this page. Do you see that? Get rid of it. I'm going to select a different layout. I'm going to select this one at the top left corner. See what happened? From here, you can begin adding text. And if you click the plus button, you can upload an image, select an image, pick one from YouTube. You can find a YouTube video and put it in there. You can put a calendar in there. You can put a map in there, right? So lots and lots and lots of room for individualization. Any questions about the layouts? Let me show you Josie's portfolio. This is a layout at the top. It's a graphic box with text alternative. This is another layout section. The one at the bottom is yet another layout section. If you go to Jasmine's portfolio, you have another yet different layout section. So again, the way you get to structuring how different and unique each page and subpage looks is to consider using the layouts, right? The collapsible group button found beneath layouts. Let me click that. And it just added a collapsible group off to the left. Did you see that? Let me trash it. I'm going to click it again. I'm clicking collapsible group. This allows you to place text onto the page or subpage as you wish. A collapsible group can really help condense a larger set of information or larger lists. And clicking the caret to the right of the header text will expand the content below the header text. So for example, I could put, hello, I go by Sandy, Sandra, and other names that people have for me, mom, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's a nice way to consolidate information into a portfolio when you might have a larger list and need to do something a bit creative there. So if we look at Jasmine and we look at her preferences page, this is an example of a collapsible list. If you click the down caret to the right, then your bulleted list will appear here. So it's really kind of intuitive. After you get into Google Sites template and kind of play around with it a little bit, and we can help you do that. Again, come to open office hours. We're not going to let you sync. We will show you how each page works and how each feature works, right? Table of contents over on the right again is the next feature. Google Sites is already pretty well organized. If you want to use a table of content, simply click it, and then I'm not going to show you here, but click it and then refer to the additional directions on page 13 of the how-to guide. And I'm not going to go over it right now because I would hazard a guess that most people don't use table of contents. If you need help with it, again, page 13 of the how-to guide, or come to open office hours and we can play around with it together. The image carousel is the next option. You see it right here. And that can be used if a student has multiple images, like from a singular activity or an event. The image carousel can be a better option to including those images or pictures instead of uploading each one individually. So let me click image carousel and watch what happens on this page. Pop-up box appears. So the image carousel tool allows you to scroll through multiple added images, and you're the one that has to add those images. Again, you can do the same thing by uploading images individually, but keep in mind that Aesthetically, it might look real nice if you use the image carousel. You need at least 2 pictures to populate an image carousel. And the way that you handle this image carousel is you're going to see a little blue box with an ad. I'm going to hover over it and click it. And I'm going to upload an image. Let me just pick one at random. I picked one. Now I'm going to open. Now I'm going to add another one because the carousel needs at least 2. So I'm going to click add. I'm going to upload. I'm going to pick that one. And there's another image. And you can continue to do this as long as you have 2 images. This feature can be used in your portfolio. The next button down here is the button. The next button is the button. It's an object on a slide that performs an action when you click it or point to it, such as jumping to another slide or playing a sound. Action buttons are most commonly used for self-running presentations. For example, presentations that are like in a booth or a kiosk that you might see. Action buttons are not the same as hyperlinks. And you can find more information about buttons by referring to page 14 of the Google Sites how-to template. Again, I'm not going to review those right now because most people will not be constructing them when they're working with a student. But if you want to, read all about them on page 14 of the Google Sites how-to guide. The divider button, which is the next option under the button, that sounds so silly. It's just decorative. It's a visual and decorative line break between important information on any page or subpage. So I'm hovering over divider. Let me click it. Oops, it just popped in a divider. You see that? Let me get rid of that puppy and I'm going to show you again. Here's the divider. I'm going to click it and it popped in a divider. It just allows you, it helps you have visual division of the content into groups on the page. Google Sites supports the feature of dividers, which helps you to separate the content a bit more adequately. Okay, the placeholder button is an image placeholder. Or it's a dummy image. It's designed to draw attention to the fact that you need to go back and actually put an image in there. So you might use the placeholder, for example, if you want a particular planned for image to be placed on a page, but you don't have the image yet, you don't have it saved to your computer files or your Google files, it will simply dock a place for it. So look what happens when I click placeholder. There it is. That's my reminder. That's all it does for you. It's just a placeholder. It's setting the table, but it doesn't have any dishes in it yet, right? So click the placeholder. There's your reminder. Put something in there. The YouTube button is the next button. And this one allows you to upload a YouTube video. Students may want to include videos of themselves at work sites. If that's the case, a student might need your help or mom's help or dad's help or pre-ets, assistance from other people to film the video and upload it to YouTube, and from there to upload it to the portfolio. Students might want to pop in YouTube videos because they've used career research videos like Dr. Kit that they've watched to explore different career interests or pathways. So if I click YouTube, I'm gonna click it. Watch what happens. Let's say I'm just putting in anything random, guys. Tractors. It gives you a whole bunch of videos. Let's just select that one. just for fun. And it puts my video in there. Now, if I had chosen this kind of layout, that YouTube video would appear on the left-hand side, and I would have text over here from which I could place into a summary of what the student learned or what was learned by watching that career video. So that's kind of a really cool feature, I think, on these portfolios. The calendar button is next, and it can be used to illustrate maybe a weekly, monthly, or yearly appointments. In terms of being a portfolio artifact, the calendar option might illustrate a student's work ethic, employability skills, or maybe their organizational ability. Look at my calendar, I have everything neatly organized, and those are both related to employability skills. The map button right down here can be used to illustrate the locations of certain places or routes in terms of being a portfolio artifact. The map might be combined with a descriptive narrative to demonstrate hobbies or interests in the student information component. It could be combined with descriptive documentation to demonstrate a business location from a volunteer activity. Or it could be combined with other documentation to demonstrate location of a work site, right? So let me click one of these so you can see what happens. You enter a location. So it might be the address of the work site, might be the address of a volunteer place, might be the address of a job shadow. How about that? Put in the address and then click select, and it will automatically populate as a map onto the page that you're in. The docs, slides, sheets, forms, and chart buttons allow you to access and insert any of those document types that you already have saved in your Google Drive. Okay. We've already talked about the pages option at the top right of the screen. Let's take a look at the themes option, which is next to the pages option. So I'm going to click that. The themes tab, when selected, and I just selected it, I just clicked it, it allows you to choose the look and feel of text. It's decorative on any given page. You don't have to use it. Each page can have a different theme if you prefer. There are pre-made themes, and you're going to see them right here. They are simple, Aristotle, diplomat, vision, level, and impression. Each theme is going to look a little unique. Again, you don't have to choose a theme from this list if you don't want to, but they are available to you. So let's go up to the top. I'm going to click simple, and I want you to see what happens to the text that's over on the left. Changed a little bit, didn't it? And let me pick green. Let me pick red. Let me pick so on and so forth. And I can choose a font style in this theme. I can go classic, or I can go heavy. If I choose Aristotle, see how it changes? If I choose diplomat, see how it changes? Here's vision, which is what the default setting is on, right? So you get the idea there. Okay. To share, if other people are helping a student add content to the portfolio, like pre-ETS providers or mom, neighbor, case manager, whoever, right? Every student's going to have their village. So you have the ability to give them a link, and that link will give them access to editing if you set the permission for them to do so. So to share a portfolio that you're still working on, it's not yet published. I'm going to pull up Jasmine's so you can look at it. Here's how you do it. Again, these are directions to share an unpublished portfolio with someone. First thing you do is, see up here at the publish button, go to the left, there's the 3 dots where we started. Ignore the cog and go to the icon of a person next to the cog icon, right? So the person with a little plus. You're going to click that icon and you're going to be prompted to enter the email of the person that you want to receive the link so that they can put information into the portfolio, they can edit the portfolio, they can help you with the portfolio. And then after you enter the email for that person, right? I just entered my email. After you enter the email for that person, a new box is going to pop up and you see it here. You'll also need to select editor. So here's the email of the person you want to share it to. Over to the right is another option. It's a drop-down box. Let me show you the options there. A published viewer or an editor. Well, I'm still working on this portfolio. It's not published yet, so I'm not going to click published viewer. I want to share it so people can help me edit it. So I'm going to select editor. And then you simply click send. Okay. I'm going to cancel that for now. If you're done with the portfolio and you want to publish it, I'm going to show you how to share a link after I'm going to show you how to publish it and how to share the link. First of all, make sure you're done. Okay. Now, if you think you're done and you publish it, and then a week later you go, oh, shoot, I forgot something. That's okay. It's okay. You can even open up a published portfolio and continue to edit it, and the published link will stay the same. So it's not like you have to resave it and reestablish another link and then send that link to a whole nother group of people. Google does this behind the scenes for you. But in general, ensure that you're finished with the portfolio before you publish. To publish it, you simply go up here in the right-hand corner. You've got some settings from the down caret. You can review changes and publish. You can view a published site. You can unpublish, right? So you choose, let's go publish. So I have already chosen a portfolio that was published. You share a published portfolio the same way. Let me show you. You click the head icon with a plus sign. You put in who you want to share it with. You make this person a published viewer. And then you click send. It really is as simple as that. The people that you send links to are going to be from two groups. They're going to be a list of people that you give editor permission, and they will have the edit link. Or you're going to send a published Google Sites portfolio to a person who is a published viewer and can review the portfolio. They cannot edit it. They can only be a published viewer. So this would be perfect. Imagine a person transitions out of high school within the first month of being receiving VR services. They have this portfolio that they can share with the VRC, as Jenny Austin talked about, or with their adult service provider. And you are off to a running start for sure. Now, there was some problem earlier this week with the links that we put into the Padlet. And we told you you could click on them and they would open up these 6 examples. And then people go to click on them and open up the examples, and lo and behold, they didn't work. Great. So we found out what the problem was, and we want to share with you what that problem was so that you don't have that problem. When you're sharing, right? Look at the bottom part here. It says links. It says links vary, change. Click change. Your draft, you can choose, whether it's restricted, whatever pops up for you. Here's the critical second one down here. We now have the portfolio set to public. You see that public word? Public. Anybody with that link that has internet accessibility can view that portfolio. You can make it public or you can make it restricted. You always want this to be public when you're publishing. So that was the hidden trick that kept us from being able to have you open up those examples that we shared. All right, let me see where we're at. Now, Brady, you're going to take it from here.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. I know you're driving for me. So good news is that as we talk about the PowerPoint template, it is a little bit easier. There are not as many steps. PowerPoint is exactly, if you've used PowerPoint before, it is what it is. So we are able to move things and put things of those artifacts in. We don't have a set template per se, with a lot of different, like all the fancy dividers and everything. You have to do that within PowerPoint. So you're just going to have blank slides. It is a template that you can see. So Sandy, are you able to, yeah, that's fine. You can click on that because it will always have the same first page there. So as you'll see, Sandy has pulled up the document. Are you able, I think from the Padlet, I think you can download that, Sandy. Be able to download that or open it in the PowerPoint version. So as Sandy is pulling that up, you will see it's a basic PowerPoint, but what I really want you to notice is that the blue document, the blue background, there we go. So although this has Tyler's information, that's who I used for this example, that first page is the same where it says directions. This is what you're going to see. So when you go to the guidance document, on the guidance document, when you pull that up, it pulls up in a PDF, and Michelle and the team have made sure that when you look at the table of contents, that those contents are interactive. So as you scroll down that table of contents, you'll see Google Slides and Microsoft PowerPoint templates, and that's on page 9. If you click on that in that table of contents, it will then pull up the template, and all you'll need to do is to click on that link, and it will allow you to pull up the template here that you're seeing. And this is what you'll get. You'll get this front page, and then you'll get the 4 pages underneath, which mirror the 4 components. Now, right now in the example that Sandy has pulled up, it's Tyler, which is the one that's completed. But if you click on that page, that's fine, Sandy, go ahead and click on that one. You'll see it's got Tyler's information, but the standard will say student name at the top, and then it will have address and then email. And then here at the bottom of this one in the yellow, you'll see the about me, the learning characteristics, academic skills, and employability skills. So with PowerPoint, what happens is you're going to have that directions page. You're going to have the page right now that we're looking at with Tyler. That will be your second tile or slide. Slide 3 will be about me. Slide 4 will be the learning characteristics. Slide 5 will be academic skills. And slide 6 will be the employability skills. So Sandy, can you go back up to that first one? Sorry, I know you're trying to help as I'm navigating and talking. So same thing is what we do with the Google Sites template. It is a template. So you must go up to your upper left-hand corner where it says File. And when you click on that and drop it down, before you do any kind of pictures, modifications, typing in the student's name, you want to do a Save As. That Save As then will open up the file, save it to your desktop, save it into a drive, wherever you're going to save it, and title it the student's name or the title of the transition portfolio, however you want to store it so that you and the student know reference of when you want to pull that up again. That then allows you to create, and you're not sharing into the state's template. Same thing, if you start to do it and you hit save and you've started to put the student's name and address, one, you've breached that student's confidential information because anybody from the state can click on that and now has access to that student's information. And two, Michelle or Ian will be, you need to let them know ASAP so that they can go in and delete that out and then reset the template so it's back to normal. So that's the reason why we always say copy first. The first thing out of our mouth is copy, copy, save as, copy, however you want to hear that today. But you want to copy that template before you start anything. The moment that you open it up, just go to save as. If you've got 10 students, they're all sitting at their computer, walk them through that process, or you need to go to each computer and you need to do, or laptop, whatever, and go to that when they have it pulled up, then do the file save as, and then title it so that they're able to work on only theirs and not present all of their information on the template for the state. Okay, now here's the exciting news that I want to share with you. The little white house that you see down in the bottom is something that needs to stay there, and you're going to want it to stay there because here's the scoop. In this white house has a coding, a link that allows you that no matter if you're on slide 27, 94, 108, however many you produce or you and the students produce, if you click on the control button in that white house, it will take you back to the home page or to wherever you need to go. Meaning, like if it's about me, it'll take you to the about me, it'll take you to the home page so that you can click on the next feature. So Sandy, if you go, you can just click on one of those tiles that are, titled 4. You can click on that one. So here's one in his about me section. If Sandy holds her, I think you have to hold your control button, Sandy. Hold your control button and click on that white house. At the same time, it will take her back to the Tyler, there we go, to the Tyler page. So if the student is doing a presentation, maybe for their IEP meeting, their case conference, they decide that they'd like to present this to share what they've created or more about themselves, you can actually utilize this and it will take them back to this. So then Sandy, if you click on learning characteristics right there in yellow, oh no, right there on the tile you're on, yep. Control and click. There you go. So see, it'll take her to her first tile of the learning characteristics. So once they click that home, it'll take them back to their like introduction page, the about me of, hey, this is Tyler, here's my address, phone number. And then it has the 4 components. It is set up so that you can take you back to that homepage every time that they hit that, so that then they don't have to keep going through the items. So then if he wants to talk about employability skills, it takes him to the very first one. Now it won't take to like tile or slide 2 of employability skills. He would then have to use his down arrow or the mouse to move it down. Sometimes I feel like it may need to be a moose, right? So I can see it and it can move around. Okay, so Sandy, if you go back up to the second page or second slide. So when you click on this, the 4 components at the bottom, the about me, learning characteristics, academic skills, and employability skills, those will already be there and will be that linked with the home picture on each page. The items that you're going to want to change here are the picture, and it's got a placeholder for you that says image/photo. So you can it's PowerPoint. So remember, you can't click on it and go like you did to your drive before with Google. You actually need to go into your pictures, or you need to save a picture to your desktop files and then copy that and copy it onto the PowerPoint slide. It's probably going to put it the whole slide. So remember, use your corners and to drag that down and put it into the size that you want it to be. And again, it's got the placeholders where Sandy does it. See where it says insert image here? You can click and slide and create that, and it will slide right into that box at the size that you need, okay? We always tell you with the corners, I don't know if you know this or not, but we learned this about a year ago. If you pull from the diagonal corners and pull in and down, it takes the full image and saves it so that it doesn't smush. So Tyler doesn't become this marshmallow that goes up and down and his image looks funny. If you pull from the corners, then it will keep that image as a full image and it doesn't smush him. And yes, that's the technical term. Don't smush your peeps. As we're getting close to Easter, that's pretty relevant, okay? And then you're able to type in the address, the phone number, et cetera, for those demographic items. And it sets in there on the template, it says address, it says phone number, it says email address. So there are prompts that are already there. If you don't want them, you can just delete those out by clicking in that text box and delete that out. Now, when you get to, Sandy, if we could go to tile 3. So when you get to about me, where you see the text box in the middle, and Sandy, can you click on the white text box in the middle? Just so it shows us where the text box is.
Yeah, I'm clicking. It's showing the upper and outer boundaries at the upper and outer boundary.
Okay, will allow you to double click in the text box just so I can see that perimeter of the text box?
No.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay,
But
so
I can grab it.
yeah, that's not the text box, that's the background. So if you'll go back out, your background, what Sandy is playing with there, you can change the color. It doesn't have to stay blue. You can change it to any of the different colors that you want. But you want to leave that. That's what has the white house and everything like that. You can change the colors. I know, and I'm trying to move my mouse to click on it too. It's for some reason, it should, the text box is not there is what I'm trying to share with you. It will just say about me in the upper left-hand corner and have the house in the lower right corner. The way that you get the text box or the image is to copy and paste what you want, or to click in there and add the insert button at the upper left hand. You can go to insert and you can insert a text button or text box. Thank you, Sandy. And then you click where that text box will be, you drag it out and start typing whatever you want. So if you have a document that the student has written on, or the pre-ETS provider or another teacher, just take that Word document and copy it and paste it and move it over into the text box and Control V or copy and paste with your mouse And then you can adjust the sizing, etc., the font color, all of those things that you are typically able to do in your PowerPoint. When you right click inside of that text box, you can highlight the text, and it allows you to change the color of the font. You'll see you can bold it, you can center it, you can change the font size. All of those items are pretty typical with a Word document. You can also do it by highlighting, like Sandy just showed. You can highlight it, you can click on the text box and change everything in that text box at the same time. You can do one word. If there's a word that you want to stand out, you can just highlight the single word and bold it or underline it. So all of that is a possibility with PowerPoint, just like Microsoft Word, if you're accustomed to the software. Same thing that you will see in the next pages. So when you get to the blank page, part of the reason why I was sharing that with you, before you start on your first slide, what I encourage you to do, which is easiest to do, is Sandy, if you right click on the About Me slide, do you see where it says to the right, duplicate slide? When it's blank, what I suggest you do is just duplicate that slide. I typically do 4 or 5. So I would do 4 additional ones of the About Me section. I would do 4 or 5 of the blank one of the student learning characteristics. I would do 4 or 5 of the academic, and I would do 4 or 5. And here's the reasoning. When you duplicate that slide, you're keeping the link and everything for the house in there. And that way, when you go and you start typing the text, if you start typing text and you duplicate that slide, Sandy, can you hit that duplicate slide? It's going to copy whatever you've got currently on there. So do you see the one that Sandy just created to the left? So in order to take that out, we'd have to click on the tile or the slide and delete that out and then start fresh. So if you do it when it's blank, then you don't have to go back and take all of those documents you've already uploaded out. If you do, it's no big deal, or the student does, it's no big deal. Go ahead and copy it and duplicate it, and then you can just delete the images or the text that are there and take those out. Sandy, if you scroll down, just kind of scroll down and let's just show them slide by slide what this looks like. I know you've got it on your Padlet. This one is not as detailed, but remember, as far as like different options that you have, you can change the color, you can change the size, but the layout is pretty much going to be set for the layout of PowerPoint. You can choose your design, meaning, do you want a text box and then an image? Do you want 2 images and 2 text boxes? And that is on personal preference of what that looks like. You will notice that you're not able to put as much stuff, or it may take a single slide like Sandy just showed on the previous one. I'm showing the artifact, and that pretty much took up the whole slide. I want them to be able to read it, right? So it needs to be large enough for them to see. So I have put that in here, and the slide previous is the one that has the narrative about it. So see my results on the next page. So I've got my narrative to the right, and then my results on the next page, because there's no way that I could put it to where it is a document where they could see it visually enough to understand what's been done. So I moved that to the next slide and was able to blow that up so that it could be seen. Once you're done, again, remember that you are in PowerPoint. So unlike Google Sites, you need to save the work. Otherwise, it will go away. So remember, we made a copy, the save as copy, and when you're finished for that day, or the student is finished, while you've got the 10 of them working on their own, go back to that file up at the upper left-hand corner and then do a save, or as Sandy was just hovering over the little save disk, you can do that as well. Since we've already done a save as, right? That's created the document under the new title. So now they can hit save and it will just update it and save the most recent. There's not as much to this one. Like I said, it really is depending on the layout. I tried to do different colors to show you they can play with colors. You can do different fonts. You can add images. You can add text boxes. You can still do charts and different things as well if you have that need or the student has that need. And all of that is in the upper left-hand corner where you see the file, home, insert, design. If you, Sandy can go to insert. Here's where you've got your text box to the far right, the charts that Sandy is on there with the mouse. If you want to add a link, you can insert links as well or embed. You'll see there on the far right is a video. You can upload and put a video in as well. The student can even do audio right there next to it. So they can record themselves talking on the slides so that if they don't want to present, they can just pull up each slide and hit the audio and it would then talk for them if they put it into the display, you know, where they're doing a presentation. Any questions on the PowerPoint? Again, it's really kind of editing. When you do a basic PowerPoint, it is not as detailed as the Google Sites because you're still putting the information in, but it's set in that slide parameter. All right, Sandy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. As a reminder, this PowerPoint is on the Padlet, and you can get into Session 3 PowerPoint and pull up additional resources on page 9 of the PowerPoint. There are lots and lots of states that use Google Sites. Indiana is a step above because our Google Sites template is already structured. It has the pages and subpage components for us, which makes it really very, very nice. But if you'd like to look at other resources around creating a portfolio in Google Sites, we have 3 on page 9 of this PowerPoint session. And again, refer back to the Padlet for resources. And please remember to complete the evaluation for today's session. You will complete 3 evaluations in total. And at the bottom of each of those 3 evaluations, there will be a second link. Click it, fill in your last name, first name, the session you attended. And what will happen is a certificate of attendance will be sent to your email address that you enter into that second survey. From the email, you can download and print your certificate of attendance and see about your PGP points. And that's it, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Again, open office hours every Thursday beginning at 2:30 p.m. and topical Tuesdays on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month for additional help. Hope to see you there. Bye.